Hello friends, I hope you're doing well. This is Granny's GodPod 106, Jacob and his dysfunctional family. When we last spoke about Jacob, we discussed Leah's weak eyes and Jacob being deceived into marrying her. We now see how Jacob's love for Rachel produced a dysfunctional family over which he now presides. When Rachel died in childbirth, Jacob became devoted to their two sons, Joseph and Benjamin, seemingly oblivious to the effect on his other sons. Why would these sons respect Jacob when he sends Joseph out to spy on them? In Jacob's defence, Reuben had previously challenged Jacob's leadership by sleeping with his concubine, and Reuben and Simeon had taken the law into their own hands to avenge their sister Dinah in Shechem. It could only aggravate things that Jacob gives Joseph a splendid coat of many colours, an expensive luxury. Joseph, then a young lad of 17, gets up their noses even more when he tells his brothers about his dreams. First, with their sheaves of wheat bowing to his, and then with his parents as well as his brothers bowing down to him, symbolised by the sun, moon, and 11 stars. These 11 stars, plus one for Joseph, represent the 12 tribes of Israel. His brothers couldn't stomach the idea of Joseph having future authority over them, and this intensifies their wish to be rid of him. Sibling rivalry reminiscent of Cain and Abel. So when they see Joseph approaching in the distance, they discuss killing him. Reuben, the eldest brother, intervenes, only wishing to take Joseph down a peg or two, and suggests throwing him down a nearby well which was dry. When Reuben later comes back for Joseph, he finds him gone. His brothers had sold him to a trading caravan of Ishmaelites heading to Egypt, selling him for pieces of silver into a life of slavery. Having produced Joseph's coat smeared with goat's blood, the sons, including Reuben, let Jacob think that Joseph has been killed by a wild animal. Jacob the deceiver is deceived again. He grieves so deeply. He probably regretted sending Joseph after his brothers, but no doubt held them responsible because he needed to keep an eye on them. Now he considers Benjamin to be his only son. When Joseph reaches Egypt, he is purchased by Potiphar, Pharaoh's captain of the guard. He prospers until he rebuffs the advances of Potiphar's wife. Joseph again loses a garment, and Potiphar's wife makes false accusations to her husband. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Joseph the dreamer ends up in prison, where he meets two servants of Pharaoh's troubled by dreams, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker. Joseph interprets their dreams, which then come true, and he asks the cupbearer to remember him when he is restored to Pharaoh's side. A couple of years pass before the cupbearer does remember Joseph, because Pharaoh has a troubling dream. Suddenly Joseph finds himself hauled out of prison and tarted up to meet the Pharaoh. He explains that the 7 fat cows being eaten by 7 thin and ugly cows, and 7 plump ears of corn being consumed by 7 withered ones, is God's warning of 7 years of plenty, followed by 7 years of famine. Pharaoh appoints Joseph to collect and store grain to be distributed when the famine hits. Joseph gathers enough to feed all comers. Does he wonder how long before his family arrives? When Jacob hears there is grain in Egypt, he says to the brothers, "Why are you looking at each other?" He could mean, "What are you waiting for? Get going." Or were they exchanging guilty looks? Egypt? Uh-oh, we know what we did. And a slave's life was short in those days. Is God's judgment awaiting them? By now, Joseph is unrecognisable to them, 20 years older, wearing Egyptian dress, speaking Egyptian and using an interpreter. The brothers have no idea Joseph understands Hebrew. Joseph, knowing what the scoundrels did to him, and counting only 10 brothers, hatches a plot to find out about his brother Benjamin. He speaks harshly and accuses the brothers of coming to spy out the land, but they assure him they are from a single family, not spies, 12 sons of one father, though one having died and one being at home with their father. Just as they had put Joseph down the well, Joseph now puts his brothers down into prison, while they decide who will go and fetch Benjamin, as proof they are honest men. The brothers are so aware they deserve God's judgment, it doesn't occur to them this was a strange request, when it could as easily have been summarily dispatched. As they chat amongst themselves in prison, Joseph hears Reuben deny being involved in their plot to kill Joseph. After 3 days, Joseph brings 9 brothers up from prison and keeps Simeon, the second eldest son, until they return with Benjamin. Joseph orders their donkeys to be loaded with bags of grain, and secretly returns their money in the top of the sacks. There was safety in numbers, both for Benjamin and for travelling with grain in a land of famine. The brothers get home and find all their money in the sacks of grain. What does Jacob think? What have they done now? Cash but no brother? Sold Simeon? Was this Joseph's subtle message to his father? It might seem so, because Jacob says, "You have bereaved me of Joseph and of Simeon. Now you want Benjamin too. It would kill me to lose him." But by inference, not the rest of them. Jacob flatly refuses to allow Benjamin, whom he considers his only son, to go to Egypt. He ignores the plight of Simeon languishing in prison. Benjamin is prized above all Jacob's other sons, and at this point, even at the risk of the whole family succumbing to the famine. All his life, Jacob elevates his love for Rachel, even after her death. Does he ever consider Leah's feelings? Have the brothers changed at all? The youngest son, Benjamin, is no longer a boy. He must be in his 20s by now. And the famine continues. Well, we're going to have a part 2 to find out what happens, whether Jacob allows Benjamin to go to Egypt. He doesn't seem to have a lot of option. Speak to you in the next one. Bye for now.